Hello there and welcome back to The Messy Cook. Today I'm making royal icing for cookies. This is good for making gingerbread houses. It's an icing that hardens up decently well as just icing whatever type of cookies you want. Gingerbread cookies, sugar cookies, whatever you like. It's pretty simple. So the recipe for this, I'm going to hold up here so you can take a look at that. It's 2 large egg whites, room temperature. Please be sure it's room temperature. 3 cups of powdered sugar, sifted. It has to be sifted so we don't have any lumps. And a half a teaspoon of cream of tartar, which you can find at your grocery store, or the Bulk Barn has it as well. And what the cream of tartar does is kind of help stabilize the egg whites, so they hold a little stiffer, and the icing will be a little bit firmer. So what you can do is in a mixing bowl, you're going to whip up the 2 egg whites until foamy. You're going to add your cream of tartar, and then just mix it for about 30 seconds. And then a little bit at a time, so I'll just do about a tablespoon at a time. You're going to add in the sugar. You're going to mix it well, and once that's all incorporated, you're going to turn the mixer to high and beat till really thick, and the icing holds its shape, and I will show you that when we get to that point. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes, so you can color it afterwards, whatever you like, and then cover it well just to store it. You can store it in the fridge, and then when you want to use it, you're just going to bring it back to room temperature. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to crack a couple of eggs, and we want to keep the whites. So I'm going to pop this over. We're going to let the egg whites go into the bowl, and I'm just going to separate the whites from the yolk. The yolks I'm going to actually give to my dog because they're actually healthy for puppies. So I'm going to make sure he has that for a little treat. I'll give that to him afterwards. That's Dexter. Periodically hear him maybe bark in one of my videos or walk by or whatnot. So there we go. We want to make sure we don't get any yolk in there, because that will spoil the recipe. So I'm just going to set those aside, give the hands a little rinse, and I'm going to take this down. I'm going to lock it, and I'm going to turn it to about, not quite high, but a medium high. So we're just going to get this going here so you can see. See if I can get this to balance, sorry. I'm going to bring that up. Actually, I'm going to go to high, so we want to get this nice and foamy. So I'm going to let this continue until it gets to where we want it. Okay, so this is the foamy stage I was talking about. So now we're going to add in half a teaspoon of cream of tartar. We're going to pop that in, and we're going to continue to mix this. Just for about 30 seconds. Okay, 30 seconds is done, and I'm going to continue to add in, sorry, not continue, but I'm going to start to add in the powdered sugar, which I have right here. I've sifted that. Like I said, sifting is super important. We don't want lumps. So I'm going to turn this on, just a little bit, not too high, and then add in a heaping tablespoon at a time. So let's see where this takes us. Go. So I'm going to continue to add this, and when it's incorporated, it will mix it on high and get it whipping. I'm just adding the last little bit of icing sugar. As you can see, this is a nice bright white, but there's lots of icing sugar around the edges. So I'm going to turn that off. I want to scrape everything in, and then get this all mixed in, and then I'm going to turn it up. Okay, as you can see here, it's all incorporated. We're going to turn this up and go right to high, and I'm going to mix it on high for 3 minutes, and we'll show the point where it's at and see if it's stiff enough. Okay, 3 minutes is up, so we want to make sure this is to a fairly stiff peak. And this is fairly soft, but you can see, if you can see, there's still a little bit wiggly, and that's okay, but I think we're going to let it go for 1 more minute. I think 4 minutes should be good on this. So I'm going to actually scrape the edges down there just to make sure we haven't missed anything. Get the bottom as well. This is you can see this is a super silky texture, and it looks kind of shiny. So that's going to be exactly what we're looking for. That's what the egg whites do. So let's just scrape all of this down. Make sure we get the majority of that in there. There we go, and I'm going to put this on for 1 more minute, and we'll come back. Okay, so this icing is definitely done. So I've put this on for 4 minutes to beat, and it's really, you can see this is really super thick. doesn't wiggle. Well, it wiggles a bit, but that's only because there's a drop there. But it takes a lot to try to shake that off. So that's what you want, that really super thick consistency. I'm going to divide this between one bowl. I'm going to split half of it. I'm going to put into a piping bag because I'm doing a gingerbread house at work tomorrow, and I want to be sure we can use some of this for the snow or whatever we need. I'm also going to put half of it in and mix some green icing, some food coloring in there to make it as green as possible to make a Christmas tree. Okay, so what I've done is I've separated half, which I'm going to add some green food coloring in. I bought these disposable piping bags, which you can find online on Amazon. Temu are really cheap if you can find it there. So little tip, when you're putting icing into a piping bag, put it into a color glass. It's the colors ones I have, so this will work. And then you're going to just use your fingers to open that a little bit, and you're going to put your icing inside of these. So I'm going to scrape this off, because that's what we want to use for the green. And then the rest here, I'm going to use white. You could add some flavoring to this if you wanted to, but it will take away that really, really bright white, which is lovely for if you're using it, like I said, for a gingerbread house, or you want that super white to look like snow. So that's basically what we're gonna do. So I just about got this cleaned out here. So this is gonna be the white one. There we go. Use my fingers, they are clean. I'm gonna pop that in. There we go. And wipe my hand off on a cloth. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is shake it down. You can push it down a little bit better than I did. It'd probably be easier, but so I don't really want this poking at the top, but I can always wipe it. So we're just going to do our best to squish that down into the bag, which isn't going to work. So because I'm going to use this as a fine tip to start with, I'm going to just put a tiny, tiny little hole in the bottom. So just a little itty bitty one, to let that air flow through. So now when I want to push this, you can see it just pushes right down. Although because I'm using this tomorrow, the white one, I'm going to put a little chip clip on that, on this clip here. So just go at the bottom. Let's see here. You can see this, so we'll just put that on the bottom and clip it closed. So that'll stay like that for tomorrow. And I will find an elastic, or maybe another chip clip. I've got lots of those, so let's do that to put on the top. So that's my icing for tomorrow. The one on the bottom fell off. Having a bit of a moment here, so we're gonna just clip that back on. So those will go in the fridge for tomorrow. And then I'm gonna change this one and add some icing, some food coloring. There we go. I want this really bright green, so I'm gonna add in, I don't know, I'll add a little bit at a time and see what we get. So let's move this out of the way. And we're just gonna stir that in with a spoon, trying to get this on your hands, because trust me, it is very staining. You can also wear kitchen gloves or just some rubber gloves if you want. Now this is way too pale, so I'm gonna add some more food coloring and just keep on mixing. I'll come right back and I'll show you the color I'm looking for. All right, so I've added quite a bit of green food coloring to this. It's not the greenest that I would have hoped for, but I don't think adding any more is really going to make much of a difference, as this is the liquid food coloring. Although a good idea for food coloring for these might be, you can buy these little pots of powdered food coloring. You can get them at the Bulk Barn, or I'm sure you can find it in any sort of pastry store or cake decorating store, that sort of thing. So I've cut a little tiny hole in the bottom, again, because we want to make sure that we're going to be able to pop this through. I'm going to put in, actually, I'm going to put this in because, all right, I'll take that out. So I have this little tiny kind of V-shaped piping tool, so you want to call it that. What I want to do is I want to use this to make kind of the leaves on a tree. So I cut into the bottom, and of course that's not working, so I have to cut a little bit more off. These scissors are dull. You just want to kind of cut it so the decorative tip comes through, but doesn't, there we go, but doesn't go all the way through. So this is perfect. So I'm going to put this back in. Sorry for the noise. I'm going to spoon in this icing. I'm going to spoon here to push it back out so that way I don't get green food coloring all over my hands, but I probably already have it on there. So we're going to get a little bit at a time. Make sure it gets in and pushes down a little bit. So we're going to add this in, and then I'm going to set something up and show you how that pipes, okay? Okay, so I've got this piped out here. I'm not a decorator or a cake decorator, nor I haven't taken a class for anything of the sort. But you can just, you'll see what this does. This kind of makes like a leaf looking thing, so it's just the way you want to take it out. Of course, that doesn't look very nice, so let's try this a little bit more. I don't know. Well, anyhow, you can pipe out however you like, so I've got to do a little bit of practicing here to see what I can sort out for a leaf. Maybe that's a little bit better. There we go. So anyhow, practice, play around, see what you can find. Again, this hardens up quite nice, so if you are making something like a gingerbread house and you just want it to harden up and stay nice and hard so it holds there and doesn't fall off, this is the type of icing you want. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you try it. Enjoy, Merry Christmas, have a great day, and happy cookie decorating. Okay, so the icing's all done, and I piped out this little Christmas tree. All I did was take a piece of parchment paper and turn it into a cone, and then I piped from the bottom up. So I just did a little, it's not the most beautiful tree, but guess what, it doesn't have to be. So I'm just going to leave this out to dry overnight and then take it to work tomorrow, and this is going to be part of my display for our gingerbread house. So I don't know if you can see here, but I've sprinkled a little bit of sparkles on there. A little bit hard to see because light isn't 100% in here, but it'll make for a sparkly snowdrop tree. So again, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to follow my page, try this recipe, and tell me what you think. Thank you, and have a great Christmas.